If you like distortion, and I suspect that you do, the new Bogner Uber Ultra just might be something that you want to check out, because it can do it all. From Harry, all the way to scary. Hey there kids, it's your good buddy Uncle Ben, and that plant is getting out of control. Whoa. And on today's video we're going to be talking about the EL34 100-watt monster that I just got from my good friends over at Sweetwater, the Bogner Uber Ultra, which is the newest version of their Uber line of amps. Now I gotta remind you guys, September is guitar month at Sweetwater, and that's where you can get yourself all kinds of savings on the stuff that you need to become a better shredder, like guitars, amps, pedals, and more, so be sure to click that Sweetwater affiliate link down there in the video description. I got this amp from Sweetwater, but all the opinions that I have on it are indeed my own. But I gotta tell you, they're mainly really good opinions, because this amp is bananas awesome. As always, today's video is brought to you guys by everybody who supports my channel over on my Patreon page, patreon.com/Ben Eller Guitars. Sign up today for all kinds of bonus goodies like extra videos, downloadable backing tracks, tabs, and so much more. Let's see what that amp sounds like if you put a little hairspray on it. Now wasn't that just a Jim Jam Jubilee? I recorded that track using my new Jackson Virtuoso hardtail here with the Seymour Duncan pick-em-ups in it. I love this guitar already. I just got it yesterday and it shreds. More hardtail Super Strat guitars, everybody. And I played that straight into the Bogner Uber Ultra here. No pedals, no boost, no nothing, other than my usual noise gate. I live in a building with ancient, really noisy power, so I've always got to have a gate on. There are an absolutely bananas amount of features to this amp that other gear demo guys are way more qualified to describe than myself. Check out my friend Ryan Bruce's video on the amp, for example. He leads you through all the little switches and settings and knobs. I'm just going to try to give you guys a quick overview of what this thing basically can do, and leave you with the idea that you can basically tailor it to do anything that you want. 2-channel amp. Both channels have 3 different modes. Let's start off on channel number 1. It can do a clean mode that has a nice sparkly chime to it. A crunch mode, so you can get those classic rock dad tones. And you can get it really nice and crunchy if you turn the gain up and use the onboard boost. Oh, hammer, don't hurt them. And you can really affect the tone of this greatly by using the first little switch over here, which goes from Uber voicing to, what is this, hair plus to hair. There's all kinds of different stuff on here. But listen how it shifts, especially the high mids of the tone. I'm gonna Uber it, then go to hair plus, then to hair. I love how it just has that like splat kind of sound on those low notes. Kind of like a Bogner trademark that I've always really liked. And we can also take it all the way to the classic Bogner Uber sound on that channel for all kinds of heavy stuff. And that's on the first channel with no boost. What? Really tight, really articulate sounding amp. Very fun to play through too. There's this density knob, destiny knob, that changes things a lot. The best way I can think to describe this is it's kind of like an overall polish knob. You know, it kind of glosses everything up if you turn it up here. With it all the way down, it sounds a lot more raw and in your face, and as you turn it up, it sounds, yeah, more slick. Kind of comes out of the speaker cabinet sounding like a mixed and mastered album if you turn it all the way up. Kind of slides off some of the mids, so it might not cut as well in a live mix, but it makes it hella fun to play through in a bedroom by yourself. I've mainly had it set at about 9 o'clock this entire time. I'm gonna start with it here at 0 and turn it up so you can hear the difference that knob makes to the overall tone. Again, it's like a distortion artist palette. You can really craft anything you want to out of this. It's kind of insane. It's an entire spice cabinet of distortion, flavorings. It can kind of be overwhelming, honestly. Like, it took me, I'll be real, a week or two to really bond with this amp and figure out exactly what all those little switches do and how they make changes to the sound. I'm kind of a tweaker by nature, so if there's a bunch of knobs and stuff on an amp, I want to mess with them and fiddle with them, and I can end up spending more time, you know, dialing stuff in than I can playing at times if I let myself do it. And initially, that's what I did with this amp. I spent more time fiddling with stuff than I did playing it. But in reality, you can just find something that sounds awesome really fast and then never touch a knob again. Don't look at it, don't smell it, don't do nothing, and just set it and forget it, Ron Popeil style, and you'll be really happy. That's the cool thing about this. There's a lot of options, but one of them is probably exactly what you're looking for. Hell, probably 5 of them are exactly what you're looking for. But now, let's get more brutaler. Oh, the humanity. Oh, the brutality. That's probably what you're buying this amp for, right? The Ubershaw legendary Chugalicious, a top mount chugs more kind of tone that we all want. For that nasty little ditty, I was using my Dunable Cyclops right here, which has the bare knuckle riff raff pickups in it, which sound awesome. This guitar just drips riffs. I love this thing. And I was using the second channel of the amp, which also has 3 different voicings. It starts at crunch, it does the classic Uber sound, and it does the Ultra sound. For the majority of that, it was 2 tracks of the Uber sound through 1 cab setup and 2 tracks of the Ultra sound. The Ultra sound is way over the top, ultra saturated, like even more gain than the Uber has, which is kind of insane. And just like the hair metal sounding clip, no pedals, no boost, no nothing. Kind of insane. So if we start off here with the crunch setting, it's very much like the crunch setting that's on channel number 1. Only the cool thing is we can tweak it and get even more out of it using some of the little dippy switches that we have on channel number 2. For example, the first switch that we have on here goes from tight or fat, which kind of shapes the low end of the amp. I'll start with it here on the tight setting. That fat mode is really great when you're in standard tuning. I'm drop C right now, but whenever you're in standard, it can really add a little bit of low end girth to it. It's also cool too if you have a favorite boost pedal that you like to use and it's making the amp kind of too lean sounding, you can use that fat mode to restore some of the lost bottom end that you're gonna get if you boost it out front. Now let's make like a college kid who's been playing beer pong all night and hop in that Uber. So very much gain. That's with the gain like dimed out on there. If you tone it down, it's a little bit more, you know, in control. But why would we want to do that? If I'm on that mode, I'm going to boost it. Skynet tone, and we still have one more mode to go. Now listen how much you can shape the sound of that Uber mode using the next little switch we want to talk about here, which goes from bright to focus to doom. This is another like low-end sculpting kind of tool. I'm gonna start with it here over on the bright setting. That's where it's been so far. I'll move it over to focus, which makes it more focuster. And then the doom mode, you can really hear the low end gets very saggy and very big sounding. That can be really cool too. A lot of low end, a lot looser, more vintage sounding. If you put that on the crunch mode and put it on fat and doom and turn the gain up and boost it, it's really nasty. You be careful on that setting, you're gonna end up writing like a 30-minute long song that's 2 riffs. Really makes you wanna just smoke dope and mash rope. If it's illegal in your jurisdiction, and you're of age, and all that other stuff. And there's still the Ultra mode, which is more. I mean, it's really, really, really over the top. If you love gain, that is where it's at for you. I probably use that channel the least of any of them. I used it for some layering on that song just to give stuff a lot of definition and tightness, but it's almost like hilariously tight. And you can really mess with that using the metamorph knob, which is probably the most mysterious knob I've ever seen, other than my youth pastor Greg's. And it's kind of hard to describe what this does. Now, it interacts with that doom focus bright setting, and it kind of makes it more of that. I don't know. Let me put it over here on the doom mode and Uber. So many options here. And as I scroll that metamorph knob up and down, you're gonna hear it really change the character of the amp and get more into that doomy, loose, buzzy territory. I've had it like at noon pretty much the whole time, which is kind of where I've left it for everything that you've heard. And I'm just gonna start there, let's turn it all the way down, go back to noon, turn it all the way up so you can hear what it does. A huge range of tones. Like seriously, you could get lost just turning knobs and flicking switches on this thing. It's kind of insane to think about the clean tone that we started with, all the way to that, all the way to the ultra insanely tight surgical precision tones you've heard out of this amp. And I've not used any pedals or anything. It's just all right there. It's kind of insane, but if you have the time to devote to it and you like tweaking knobs and stuff, you can probably find just about anything on here. Pretty ridiculous amp. Holy moly, that is a whole lot of amp. I don't think I've ever seen an amp that gets so many sounds out of 2 channels. I love it. I think it's amazing. Especially like in the studio, you can use it for pretty much anything, from those crystal cleans that are really shimmery to classic rock crunch, searing lead tones, doomy, fuzzy, loose, buzzy stuff, incredibly tight, precise brutality. I don't really know of any other tube amp that can cover that much ground. It's pretty amazing. The option paralysis is real. If you're the kind of player that just really, you know, sets it and forgets it, puts on one tone and use that the whole show or for all of your recordings, maybe you don't need an amp like that. But if you're like myself and you like to use a little bit of everything tonally and you play all kinds of different gigs and you record all kinds of different projects, it's pretty great to have this thing sitting on the shelf and be able to get basically anything I want out of it without even touching a pedal. Is it cheap? No, absolutely not. It's a pretty pricey amp, but I like things that are nice. And I'll tell you guys what, I got it as one of those discounted deals from Sweetwater where it was like a, I don't know, like a floor model, a demo model, and it saved me like 800 bucks. And the amp showed up and there was nothing wrong with it. No damage. There was like a scratch on the back panel or something, apparently. I don't care. I'm gonna use these things. They're tools, you know? They're not museum pieces for me. So you can save some money doing those demo deals on Sweetwater, which is pretty amazing. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know what you guys think about it down in the comments section, and let me know what piece of gear you guys would like to see next on the channel. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell for notifications every time I upload a new slice of fried gold. And if you want to help support my channel, check out that Patreon page over at patreon.com/Ben Eller Guitars. Well guys, it's been fun as always, but now I've got to edit down this mountain of footage into something usable, which you are currently watching right now. In the future, crazy, huh? It's like a dang old Christopher Nolan movie up in this bitch. Thank you guys so much for watching. Get away from the computer, go play some guitar. Less clicking, more picking.